good evening. And no matter when you happen to be listening to this, it is always evening here at Tom's Terror Trove. Now, this episode we're taking another look at Limbus Company, specifically, befitting someone who's just getting into the game like myself, the opening scene, or prologue, La Selva Oscura. We're talking voiceover, we're talking literary allusions, and allusions behind and between the allusions. We're talking questionable dubbing choices, on my part that is. We're taking our first steps on the road to hell, which is, as we all know, paved with good intentions. So, upon first booting up the game, after the menu screens of course, you're introduced to a cutscene in which our clock-headed manager-protagonist Dante is menaced by three savage individuals, codenamed Wolf, Lion, and Panther. As many of you may know, this is a reference to the opening of the 14th century Italian epic The Divine Comedy by Dante Alighieri. This work bequeaths a vast legacy of imaginative imagery that, as we can still see, remains hugely relevant and potent beyond its original context. What I was curious about was, given the information we have in the Commedia and the digging that scholars have done over the years, calling it digging is to do a disservice. Dante and the Divine Comedy is an entire academic pursuit and discipline unto itself. Do the attitudes of the three beasts in Limbus Company match their ostensible attributes in the original? And what is the significance of the three beasts in the first place? Now, a wiki is a fine enough place to start, and I've done my best to throw a list of references in the description of this episode, as I have done my best to dig through a variety of sources, telling us that the three beasts from the Inferno symbolize the three major divisions of the sins punished in hell. The order we encounter the antagonists in the Dark Forest and Limbus Company is actually, a minor point, but interesting to note, the opposite to the order in which they're encountered in the poem. First, the Panther. Now, the word Dante uses in the original is lonza, referring to some kind of lithe cat. Various translations use leopard or panther, but, like the fruit in the Garden of Eden, side note, actually, it's commonly depicted as an apple, but in fact the Bible does not specify. This is frequently explained as resulting from a misunderstanding of, or a pun on, two unrelated words, and I'm hoping I'm getting the pronunciation reasonably close. Malum, which is a native Latin noun, which means evil, from the adjective malus, and malum, I think, is it? Malum, another Latin noun, borrowed from the Greek, which means apple. In fact, it's just referred to as a fruit in Hebrew. I think the word is pri. Anyway, where was I? Oh, right. Okay, in the Inferno, we have the leopard/panther first, and it's described thusly. Ed ecco, quasi al cominciar dell'erta, una lonza leggera e presta molto, che di pel macolato era coverta. And almost where the hillside starts to rise, look there, a leopard, very quick and lithe, a leopard covered with a spotted hide. The lion, the second beast encountered by Dante, represents violence and is connected to the sins of pride and wrath. Questi parea che contra me vinesse, con la test'alta e con rabbiosa fame, si che parea che l'aere ne tremesse. His head held high and ravenous with hunger. Even the air around him seemed to shudder. This lion seemed to make his way against me. Lastly, the she-wolf. The last beast encountered by Dante is believed to represent the sins of incontinence, as in lack of self-restraint, not the other thing, and the deadly sin of greed, making the beast a representation of the sins of the city of Florence. That's a topic for another time. As these sins are considered by Dante to be at the root of all political unrest in the land, the she-wolf is considered the most dangerous of the three beasts. It's harder to tell in the prologue of the game. I always feel like the panther or the leopard seems to be the one who's kind of holding the reins of the other two. But the she-wolf is definitely the one who's really relishing the chance to deal some damage, and the she-wolf definitely seems to be the most sadistic within the game. Ed un lupa, che di tutte bramme sembiava carca nella sua magrezza, e molti genti fegia viver grame. And then a she-wolf showed herself. She seemed to carry every craving in her leanness. She had already brought despair to many. Interestingly, and surely this is not intentional, but molti son gli animali a cui s'ammoglia, e più saranno ancora, infin che il veltro verrà, che la farà morir con doglia. She mates with many living souls, and shall yet mate with many more, until the greyhound arrives, inflicting painful death on her. And what is it that arrives to save Dante and mow down a couple of these aggressors? In the game, I mean. A bus! And what's the most famous intercity bus service in the United States? Greyhound. Truly a piece of information with wide-reaching implications. Do let me know in the comments, though, if anyone has any insight into this, or is it just a coincidence? Many things are just coincidences, after all. Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. Incidentally, though, the greyhound, Veltro, is the first of several enigmatic prophecies in the poem to a saviour figure who will come to redirect the world to the path of truth and virtue. Although Dante may be alluding to one of his political benefactors, Can Grande, whose name means big dog, he probably intends for the prophecy to remain as unspecific, and therefore tantalizingly open to interpretation, as the three beasts and the overall atmosphere of the opening scene. Well, so what? None of this has a direct bearing on one's understanding or enjoyment of Limbus Company, yet I think through an exploration of some of these themes, references, resonances and differences, enjoyment and understanding might be deepened. Well, it's known that the seasonal, horological, and even spatial and geographic references in the Divine Comedy are quite deliberate and specific. Not only do we have the literal journey through the 9 circles of hell, we have the metaphorical meanings of the objects and sinners encountered. I've touched on what the 3 beasts might represent. Interestingly, some scholars have surmised that an additional meaning, many more additional meanings, but we're just going to touch on one here, might be extracted from the Commedia. That of an actual description of a pilgrim's journey to the Holy Land. To quote, "It is of considerable interest that in Dante's period, leopards, lions, wolves, and other wild beasts were described as roaming the deserts along the whole of the Exodus route. In the 12th century, for example, the Russian abbot Daniel mentioned in 1106 to 1107 AD the many panthers and lions to be seen in the Jordan River Valley's desert depression near the Dead Sea. In fact, another scholar, John G. Desmarais, asserts that no longer is there an absolute need for commenters to label each supposedly fictional beast image with one or more clear fixed ideas, and then to disagree about which clear fixed ideas Dante intended. When the 3 beasts of the desert are examined in context, without preconceived notions about there being artifacts, they take on a fresh, 3-dimensional quality that demands recognition. The animals move before the reader with far too much life, concreteness, and spontaneity to be easily confined. The spotted leopard, as we've heard, nimble and light, appears suddenly on the scene. The lion advances with head erect, furious with hunger. The lean she-wolf with the craving look stalks forward. In fact, it's in this that I really feel like the game well reflects the beasts in the original poem. Both aesthetically and in the perspective of the pilgrimage tradition, the 3 beasts can be regarded in the literal sense as real, their physical presence in turn supporting varying symbolic values. The people of the medieval, early Renaissance world were highly observant, and despite lacking information about reality we now take for granted, they are the giants whose shoulders we sometimes have the good fortune to stand on. Okay. The point in the relation of all this to Limbus Company is getting away from me a bit. As a palate cleanser, here's a fun, whoosh whoosh, that's the sound of the quotation marks flying through the air on fun, little dub I did of the opening scene. I was originally going to use it to illustrate some of the points in the main episode, but that that whole plan didn't really last, so I'm going to throw it in here. It's interesting to note that the translation or script actually has been updated compared to the one I read from. Close enough, though.
Do you see now? You can't run from us.
You dare interrupt me just as I was engraving the...
You must be out of your... If we're being technical, what our master has planned apparently isn't one of the city's taboos. It's just the kind of thing that no one has ever dared to consider. You catch my drift?
Huh.
Would you look at that?
You managed to get a different head in so fast. Do people like you always come prepared?
Just wait till I get the ready. You'll be no match for... I guess that new noggin doesn't come with a mouth, huh? Yep. Ticking is all I can hear. You think they're screaming on the inside? It's ticking faster, so I guess they can still feel pain. Damn it! Why am I being attacked?
Not good. Memories are dissolving already. Was done too quick.
What? They've gone quiet already. Let's get this over with. Wolf, this is a place no one visits and somewhere none can see. What's the hurry? We must follow her teachings. We can't drag on any longer. Yeah, but... this is the moment of a lifetime. We're not going to get a second chance to kill someone of this caliber.
Lion, you have a tendency to grow too emotional during your jobs. I hope you show some discretion.
Pshaw!
It's a shame. I wanted to have a look at your face. I reckon you won't tell us where your star is, right?
Like hell I am. I'm taking location to the grave with me. Damn it! Where was it supposed to be again? My memories are escaping me too quickly.
Right. No mouth. Which in turn means we won't learn how to acquire it from this person.
Can I end them now?
Sure.
Huh? Hey, what's that noise? Don't tell me, Panther. Did you allow yourself to be tracked?
No. Now there was no one that could have pursued me. Perhaps a wild animal?
This is not the sound a beast would make. It's a bus.
How did it even end up here?
Must have taken a wrong turn. Oh, the price they'll pay for taking the wrong road will be heavier than they expect. What?
What's with the purple snaky motif on each of the three beasts? Well, checks notes, looks like I'm going to have to read Leviathan. Say, then I could rope in the book of the same name by the 17th century philosopher Thomas Hobbes. That'd make for an excellent tangential episode. Okay, focus. So, who or what are the three beasts, swish swish, that attack our Dante at the beginning of Limbus Company? Well, on one level, they are the three individuals that appear before us, work in tandem, have specific lives and agendas and goals. On another level, they are echoes of words penned by a 14th century Italian poet-philosopher. Much like the sinners of Limbus Company, they are the things and the things they represent. And, further abstracted, they are pieces in a game, characters in a game, images on a screen with numbers, zeros and ones behind the images, functionaries, something, 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 ludonarrative, cognizance or dissonance. To end with a final quote, this time from Brenda Dean Schildgen, in Dante, These animal beings are already personifications in the same way that as by-natured creatures that lord over various sections of hell, Minos, Geryon, centaurs are personifications. Jameson argues that characters that turn into personifications lack individual existence or personality, as they become equated with some notion of the universal. In other words, they become abstractions. In the same way that Dante is a distinct character, yet their amnesiac state renders them more suitable as a player surrogate. There is a flattening as the web of allusion and illusion opens wide and the mirror cracks from side to side. What exactly am I trying to say? Well, I'm not 100% sure anymore, but it was fun getting there. Vroom vroom. If you have enjoyed, swish swish, this episode, do subscribe and stick around. In a couple of days, I'll be releasing my recording of Unseen Unfeared by the pioneering woman writer of sci-fi and weird fiction, Frances Stevens, aka Gertrude Barrows Bennett. It's an earlier and rather different take on some of the ideas H.P. Lovecraft would explore in From Beyond. Before I sign off, I'll mention that I do all this myself, the wonderful voice actors who contribute their talents to the crawling world notwithstanding, and therefore liking, subscribing, commenting and rating wherever you happen to be listening or watching helps out the podcast/channel immensely. My thanks, my gratitude to those who do show their support, however that may manifest, whether it's a donation, a comment, a review, etc. Thank you. Stay tuned for more Limbus Company related lore episodes, the long-awaited conclusion of The Crawling World, and all sorts of other good things. With that, I will bid you good night and farewell for now. Take care. It's a scary world out there.